The Valorian starship Eternal Dawn came out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. The ship was massive, almost 2 miles long, and it glowed with a soft purple light that came from its engines. Inside the ship, Princess Kelvira stood at the large window and looked at the small, blue planet in the distance, Earth, the home of humans. Kelvira was tall, almost 7 feet, with dark skin that looked like polished stone. Her eyes were silver, and they caught the light of distant stars. She had traveled for 6 months to reach this place. 6 months of waiting and wondering and asking herself if she was doing the right thing. "Your Highness," said Commander Zethra, walking up behind her. He was an old soldier with many scars on his face. "The humans have seen us. Their ships are moving toward us." Kelvira did not look away from the window. "How many ships?" 12. Small ones. "They are no threat to us. I did not come here to fight them," Kelvira said quietly. "I came here for answers." For 300 years, the Valorian Empire had watched Earth from far away. They had seen humans fight their wars. They had seen humans build their cities and destroy them. They had seen humans reach out into space, first to their moon, then to Mars, then to the stars beyond. Most Valorians thought humans were primitive. They were violent and short-lived, and they could not even agree among themselves. The Valorian Council had voted many times to leave them alone. Humans were not worth the trouble. But Kelvira had found something that changed everything. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small crystal. Inside the crystal was information. Genetic information. DNA codes that should have been impossible. 3 years ago, a human princess had visited the neutral zones. Her name was Samantha Cole, and she was the daughter of the human chancellor. She had come to negotiate peace between 2 minor species who had been fighting for decades. No one expected her to succeed. She was young, only 25 at the time, and humans were not known for their diplomacy, but she had succeeded. In just 3 weeks, she had ended a war that had killed millions. The 2 species had signed a peace agreement, and they were still at peace today. Kelvira had been curious about this human princess. How had she done what so many others had failed to do? What made her different? So Kelvira had sent agents to collect samples. Hair from her pillow. Skin cells from a glass she had touched. It was not honorable, but it was necessary. And when her scientists had analyzed the samples, they had found something that made Kelvira's blood run cold. Samantha Cole had Valorian DNA. Not much. Just small pieces here and there. But the markers were clear. They were the same markers that appeared in the Valorian royal bloodline. Markers that had been bred into her family for 10,000 years. This was impossible. Humans and Valorians had never met before. Their worlds were 47 light years apart. There was no way for human and Valorian blood to mix. And yet the evidence was clear. Kelvira had to know why. On Earth, in the tall towers of New Geneva, Princess Samantha Cole received word of the alien ship. She was in a meeting with her father and his advisors when the message came. "A Valorian vessel," said General Hayes, a stern man with gray hair. "One of their royal ships based on the design. It entered our system 30 minutes ago, and it is heading toward Earth." Chancellor Marcus Cole leaned forward in his chair. He was 60 years old, with a tired face and worried eyes. "What do they want?" "Unknown, sir. They have not responded to our calls." Samantha stood by the window, looking out at the city below. New Geneva was beautiful in the afternoon light. Glass towers reached toward the sky, and flying vehicles moved between them like silver insects. 8 billion people lived on Earth now. 8 billion lives that could be in danger. "Have they made any aggressive moves?" she asked. "No, Your Highness. They are just moving toward us, slowly." Samantha thought about what she knew of the Valorians. They were an old species, much older than humans. They had built an empire that spanned 100 star systems. They had technology that made human ships look like toys, but they were not conquerors. In all their history, they had never invaded another world. They preferred to watch and wait and judge. Most species found them arrogant. Samantha found them interesting. "I want to meet them," she said. Her father stood up quickly. "Samantha, no. We do not know what they want. It could be a trap. If they wanted to destroy us, father, they would not send a single ship. They would send a fleet." Samantha turned to face him. "They have come for a reason, and I believe that reason has something to do with me." Marcus Cole looked at his daughter with confusion. "Why would you think that?" Samantha was quiet for a moment. She thought about the things she had never told anyone. The strange abilities she had developed as a child. The way she could see colors that other humans could not see. The way her wounds healed faster than they should. The way she sometimes knew what people were thinking before they spoke. Her doctors had never been able to explain it. They had called it a mutation, a genetic accident. But Samantha had always felt that there was more to it than that. She had always felt that she was waiting for something. Or someone. "Call it intuition," she said finally. "Prepare a diplomatic shuttle. I will meet them at Orbital Platform 7. Captain Daniel Ortiz, her chief of security, stepped forward. He was a young man, only 32, but he had already saved her life twice. "Princess, I must advise against this. We know nothing about their intentions." "Then I will find out," Samantha said. "That is what diplomats do." She left the room before anyone could argue further. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands were steady. Something was coming. Something that would change everything. She could feel it in her bones. 3 hours later, Samantha's shuttle left Earth's atmosphere. She sat alone in the passenger compartment, watching the planet grow smaller behind her. Her home, her world. She wondered if she would ever see it the same way again. On the eternal dawn, Kelvira watched the small human shuttle approach. It was tiny compared to her ship, like a fish swimming toward a whale. But the princes inside that shuttle had traveled alone, without weapons, without a fleet to protect her. That took courage. Or foolishness. Perhaps both. "She is brave," Kelvira said quietly. "She is human," Commander Zithra replied, as if that explained everything. "Yes," Kelvira said. "She is, and that is what makes this so interesting." She turned away from the window and walked toward the transport bay. It was time to meet the human princess. It was time to find answers. It was time to discover why two women from different worlds shared the same blood. Orbital Platform 7 hung in the darkness of space like a giant silver wheel. It was a neutral place, built 50 years ago for meetings between species who did not trust each other. The walls were white and clean. The air was cold and smelled like nothing at all. Samantha arrived first. She walked through the empty halls with only 2 guards behind her. Her footsteps echoed on the metal floor. She wore the white uniform of Earth's diplomatic service, simple and plain. A small silver pin on her collar showed, the symbol of the United Earth Federation. She entered the meeting room and looked around. It was a large space with a round table in the center. Chairs had been placed on both sides, human-sized on one side and larger ones on the other. Someone had put food and drinks on the table. Water for humans. A purple liquid for VELORIANS. Samantha sat down and waited. She did not have to wait long. The door on the other side of the room opened and Kelvira walked in. Samantha had seen pictures of Valorians before, but pictures did not prepare her for the real thing. Kelvira was tall, so tall that she had to bend slightly to pass through the doorway. Her skin was dark and smooth like black glass, and it seemed to glow with an inner light. Her eyes were silver, bright and sharp, and they fixed on Samantha immediately. She was beautiful. Strange and alien, but beautiful. Calvera walked to the table and stood there, looking down at the human princess. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "You are younger than I expected," Calvera said finally. Her voice was soft and musical, like wind moving through crystal. Samantha smiled slightly. "And you are exactly what I expected. Your people's broadcasts travel far. I have studied them for years." Calvera's silver eyes widened just a little. "Surprise. You have been watching us. As you have been watching me." Samantha pointed to the empty chair across from her. "Please sit. We have much to discuss, and I think you did not travel 47 light years for small talk." Calvera sat down slowly. Her movements were graceful, like water flowing. She placed her hands on the table and looked at Samantha with new interest. "You are direct," she said. "I did not expect that from a human. And what did you expect?" "Fear, anger, suspicion." Calvera tilted her head slightly. "Most species are afraid of us. We are bigger, stronger. Our technology is better. They see us as a threat. Are you a threat?" "Not today." Samantha laughed. It was a real laugh, not the polite one she used in diplomatic meetings. "I like honesty. It saves time." She leaned forward slightly. "So tell me, Princess Calvera, why are you here? What do you want from Earth? What do you want from me?" Calvera was quiet for a moment. Then she reached into her robes and pulled out a small crystal. She placed it on the table between them and touched it with one finger. Light rose from the crystal. It formed a shape in the air, a twisting ladder of colors. Samantha recognized it immediately. DNA, a genetic code. "This is your DNA," Calvera said. "We collected samples 3 years ago, when you visited the neutral zones. I apologize for the deception, but it was necessary." Samantha felt a flash of anger, but she pushed it down. Getting angry would not help. "Go on." Calvera touched the crystal again. A second shape appeared next to the first. Another DNA strand. It looked different from Samantha's, but there were parts that were exactly the same. Exactly. "This is my DNA," Calvera said. "Look at the marked sections. Look at how they match yours." Samantha looked. She was not a scientist, but she could see what Calvera was showing her. There were pieces of the two DNA strands that were identical. Not similar, identical. "That is impossible," Samantha said quietly. "Yes, it should be impossible." Calvera leaned back in her chair. "Humans and Valorians have never met before today. Our worlds are 47 light years apart. We evolved separately, on different planets, under different suns. There is no way our DNA should match, but it does. Yes, it does." Samantha stared at the floating images for a long time. Her mind was racing. She thought about all the strange things that had happened to her throughout her life. The abilities she could not explain. The feeling that she was different, that she did not quite belong. "I have always known something was wrong with me," she said slowly. "My doctors could never explain it. My reflexes are faster than they should be. My wounds heal quickly. I can see light that other humans cannot see." They called it a mutation. A genetic accident. Calvera nodded. "Those abilities are common among Valorian royalty. We have bred them into our bloodline for 10,000 years. Enhanced senses, faster healing, greater strength. They are the marks of our royal house, and they are in me." "Yes." Samantha stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see Earth, small and blue and beautiful. Her home, her world. But was it really hers? Was she really human? "What are you suggesting?" she asked without turning around. "I am not suggesting anything," Calvera said. "I am telling you facts. Your DNA contains Valorian markers. Markers that should not exist in any human. I do not know how this happened. I do not know why. But I believe it is not an accident. I believe someone put them there on purpose. Samantha turned to face her. Someone? Who? I do not know. But I intend to find out. Calvera stood up and walked toward her. She stopped a few feet away, close enough that Samantha could see the tiny lights that moved beneath her dark skin. I have read about you, Princess Samantha. Your diplomatic work. Your speeches about unity and peace. You are not like other humans. You see things differently. You understand things that others do not. Is that why you came? To study me like some kind of experiment? No. Calvera shook her head. I came because I need answers. And I believe you need them too. Something connected our bloodlines across 47 light years of space. Something wants us to meet. I can feel it. Can you not feel it too? Samantha was quiet. She did feel something. A pull, like gravity, but not gravity. A sense that she was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing exactly what she was supposed to do. Yes, she admitted. I feel it. Then help me find the truth. Work with me. Let our scientists study both of us. Let us dig into the past and find out what was done to us, and why. Samantha looked at the alien princess standing before her. 24 hours ago, they had been strangers from different worlds. Now they were bound together by a mystery that went back thousands of years. My father will not like this, Samantha said. I expect not. But you are a princess. You can make your own choices. Samantha smiled again. Yes, I can. She held out her hand, the way humans did when they made agreements. Very well, Princess Calvera. I will help you find answers. We will solve this mystery together. Calvera looked at the offered hand. She did not know the human custom, but she understood the meaning. Slowly, she reached out and took Samantha's hand in her own. Her skin was cool and smooth. Together, she agreed and so the two princesses made their pact. Human and Valorian, strangers and sisters, bound by blood that should not exist. They did not know where the journey would take them. They did not know what dangers waited ahead. But they knew one thing for certain. This was not a coincidence. This was destiny. The weeks that followed were filled with tests and questions and long nights of research. Samantha moved into a special facility that had been built just for this investigation. It was located on a small island in the Pacific Ocean, far from the cities and the news reporters who wanted to know everything about the alien princess who had come to Earth. Human scientists worked side by side with Valorian scientists. It was strange at first. The Valorians were tall and quiet, and they spoke in soft voices that sounded like music. The humans were shorter and louder, and they argued about everything. But slowly, they learned to work together. Dr. Nathan Park was the leader of the human science team. He was a young man, only 34, with black hair and tired eyes. He had studied genetics his whole life, but nothing had prepared him for this. The things they were discovering changed everything he thought he knew about the universe. The markers are not natural, he announced one morning. The whole team was gathered in the main laboratory, a large room filled with machines and screens and floating displays. Someone engineered them. Someone put them into both bloodlines on purpose. Chancellor Marcus Cole was there too. He had come to the island reluctantly, still worried about his daughter, and still suspicious of the Valorians. What do you mean, engineered? By whom? We do not know, Dr. Park admitted. He pulled up a display that showed the matching DNA sections. But look at this. The engineering is perfect. There are no mistakes, no errors. Whoever did this had technology far beyond anything we have today, far beyond anything the Valorians have. Calvera stepped forward. She had been listening quietly, as she always did. There are legends among my people, old stories that most of us dismiss as myths. They speak of beings called the architects. They say these beings existed before the stars were born. They seeded life across the galaxy and then disappeared. Ancient aliens, one of the human scientists said with a small laugh. Every culture has those stories. Perhaps every culture has those stories because they are true, Calvera replied calmly. Perhaps the architects were real. Perhaps they had a reason for connecting our bloodlines. Samantha had been standing by the window, looking out at the ocean. Now she turned to face the group. If the architects wanted us connected, they must have had a purpose. Something they wanted us to do. Or something they wanted us to become. That is just speculation, her father said. We have no proof of any of this. Then we find proof. Samantha walked to the main display and touched it. The image changed, showing a map of the moon. Dr. Park, you told me yesterday that you found something strange in the old survey data. Dr. Park nodded. He looked nervous. Yes, there is a structure beneath the surface of the moon. It is located in the Mare Tranquillitatis, about 50 meters underground. It has been there for at least 50,000 years. 50,000 years? Chancellor Cole's voice was sharp. That is impossible. Humans had not even invented writing 50,000 years ago. Exactly, Dr. Park said. Humans did not build it. And neither did Valorians. Someone else put it there. And recently, it started sending signals. What kind of signals? Dr. Park looked at Samantha. Signals directed at you, Your Highness. And at Princess Calvera. The signals started 3 weeks ago, right after your genetic tests began. It is like the structure knows you are here. It is like it is calling to you. The room was silent. Everyone was looking at the two princesses. Samantha and Calvera exchanged glances. They had spent many hours together over the past weeks, talking about their lives, their hopes, their fears. They were not quite friends yet, but they understood each other in a way that no one else could. We should go there, Samantha said. We should find out what is in that structure. Absolutely not, her father said immediately. It could be a trap. It could be dangerous. Everything is dangerous, father. But we cannot find answers by hiding here. We have to take risks. Samantha's voice was firm. I am going to the moon. You can come with me, or you can stay here. But I am going. That night, Calvera came to Samantha's room. It was late and the facility was quiet. Most of the scientists had gone to sleep. Only the guards were awake, patrolling the halls with their weapons ready. Samantha was sitting by the window when Calvera arrived. She did not seem surprised to see her. You should knock, Samantha said. Valorians do not knock. Calvera sat down in the chair across from her. I wanted to speak with you alone, without the politicians and scientists listening. About what? Calvera was quiet for a moment. Her silver eyes looked at the ocean outside, at the waves that moved slowly in the moonlight. I came here expecting to find answers. Instead, I have found only more questions. But I have also found something I did not expect. And what is that? You. Calvera turned to look at her. All my life, I have been told that humans are primitive, violent, weak. My people think you are not worth our attention. But you have proved them wrong, Samantha Cole. You are intelligent. You are brave. You are kind. And you carry our blood in your veins. Samantha smiled slightly. Is that a compliment? It is the truth. Calvera leaned forward. I have spent my whole life surrounded by people who only see my title. They see the princess, the royal bloodline, the political power. They do not see me. But you do. You see past all of that. You see the person underneath. Samantha was quiet for a long moment. She thought about her own life, about the loneliness that came with being a princess. the endless meetings and ceremonies and diplomatic events. The way everyone watched her, judged her, expected things from her. She had never met anyone who understood that burden. Until now. "We are alike," she said finally. "More alike than either of us expected. Yes, we are." Calvira stood up and walked to the window. She stood next to Samantha, looking out at the night. "Whatever we find on the moon, whatever the architects intended for us, we will face it together. I will not abandon you. I promise." Samantha stood up and put her hand on Calvira's arm. The alien's skin was cool and smooth, but it did not feel strange anymore. It felt familiar. "And I will not abandon you," Samantha said. "We are in this together. Whatever happens." They stood there in silence, watching the waves and the stars. Two princesses from different worlds who had become something like sisters. The mystery was still unsolved. The danger was still coming. But they were no longer alone. In 2 days, they would go to the moon. They would enter the ancient structure and find out what the architects had left for them. They did not know what waited inside, but they knew they would face it together. And that made all the difference. The alarm came at 3 in the morning. Samantha was sleeping in her room on the island facility when the sirens started screaming. She jumped out of bed and ran to the command center, still wearing her sleeping clothes. Scientists and soldiers were running everywhere. Screens were flashing red. "What is happening?" she demanded. General Hayes was standing in front of the main display. His face was pale, and his hands were shaking. Samantha had never seen him afraid before. Now he looked terrified. "Ships," he said. 47 ships just came out of hyperspace at the edge of our solar system. They are moving toward Earth. Valorian ships? No. His voice was barely a whisper. Collective. Samantha felt her blood turn cold. The collective. The nightmare that everyone thought was dead. A machine intelligence that had destroyed 3 civilizations before a coalition of species had finally defeated them 50 years ago. Or so everyone believed. Calvary arrived a moment later. She looked at the display, and her silver eyes went wide. "That is impossible," she said. "The collective was destroyed. We killed them all. Every ship, every factory, every last piece of their code." "It seems you missed them," General Hayes said bitterly. The display showed the enemy fleet moving slowly but steadily toward Earth. The ships were black and angular, like giant insects made of metal. They did not respond to any calls. They did not negotiate. They did not stop. The collective had one goal: the elimination of all organic life. They believed that biological creatures were inefficient and chaotic. They believed the universe would be better without them. And they were very, very good at killing. "How long until they reach Earth?" Samantha asked. 6 days at their current speed. "Can we stop them?" General Hayes shook his head slowly. "We have 12 ships that can fight. The collective has 47. Our weapons are not designed to fight something like this. We can slow them down. We cannot stop them. What about Valorian reinforcements?" Samantha turned to Calvira. "Can you call your fleet?" Calvira was already holding a communication device. "I have already sent the message. But the nearest battle fleet is 3 weeks away at maximum speed. They will not arrive in time." The room was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. In 6 days, the collective would reach Earth. They would kill everyone. 8 billion people would die. And there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Samantha walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, behind the blue and the clouds, death was coming. It was coming for her family. It was coming for her world. It was coming for everything she had ever loved. But she was not going to give up. She was not going to stand here and wait to die. "The moon?" she said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. The structure on the moon. It started sending signals when Calvera and I began our tests. It knows we are here. It is calling to us. Samantha turned to face the group. The architects built it 50,000 years ago. They connected our bloodlines across 47 light years. They did not do that for nothing. There must be a reason. There must be something in that structure that can help us. That is a guess, her father said. He had arrived during the commotion and now stood near the door, looking old and tired. You are betting the survival of our species on a guess. Do you have a better idea? Samantha's voice was sharp. In 6 days, we will all be dead. Unless we do something. Unless we find something that can fight the collective. She pointed at the ceiling. That structure has been waiting for 50,000 years. It is calling to us. Maybe it has been waiting for exactly this moment. Calvera nodded slowly. She is right. The architects saw something in our futures. They prepared something. We have to find out what it is. Chancellor Cole looked at his daughter for a long moment. Then he sighed and seemed to grow smaller. Very well. Go to the moon. Find your answers. But be careful, Samantha. You are all I have left. Samantha walked to her father and hugged him. It was the first time she had hugged him in years. I will come back, she said. I promise. 2 hours later, Samantha and Calvera were aboard a shuttle heading for the moon. They traveled alone. There was no time to bring scientists or guards. There was no time for careful planning. The moon grew larger in the window as they approached. It was gray and dead, covered in craters and dust. But somewhere beneath its surface, something ancient was waiting. Are you afraid? Calvera asked. Samantha thought about it. Yes, but I am more afraid of doing nothing. I am more afraid of watching my world die while I stand by and do nothing. That is the difference between courage and recklessness. Courage is being afraid and acting anyway. Did you people teach you that? No. Calvera smiled slightly. You taught me that. By your example. By your example. The shuttle landed near the Mare Tranquillitatis. They put on spacesuits and walked across the gray dust until they found the entrance. It was hidden beneath a layer of rock, but their sensors showed them where to dig. The door was made of a metal that neither of them recognized. It was still bright and shiny after 50,000 years, and it opened as soon as they touched it. Inside was a tunnel that led down into darkness. Lights came on as they walked, blue and soft, showing them the way. The walls were covered in symbols that looked like a mix of Valorian writing and something older, something that came before all known languages. Can you read it? Samantha asked. Some of it, Calvera said. It says, welcome, it says. We have been waiting for you. They walked for what felt like hours. The tunnel went deeper and deeper until Samantha lost track of how far underground they were. Finally, they emerged into a vast chamber. It was the size of a stadium, with walls that glowed with soft white light. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal. It was made of crystal, and it pulsed with energy, like a heart beating slowly. On the pedestal were 2 handprints. One glowed silver. One glowed gold. The architects knew this day would come, Calvera said softly. They knew the collective would return. They prepared this for us. Samantha walked toward the pedestal. She could feel power coming from it, power that made her skin tingle and her heart beat faster. She looked at the golden handprint and she knew, without understanding how she knew, that it was made for her. Together? She said, looking at Calvera. Calvera walked up beside her and looked at the silver handprint. Together. They reached out at the same time. Their hands touched the crystal, and everything changed. Light exploded from the crystal pedestal. It filled the chamber, filled the tunnel, filled the entire structure buried beneath the moon. Samantha felt herself lifted off the ground. She felt energy rushing through her body, through her blood, through every cell dot, and then she felt something else. A presence. A mind. Something vast and ancient and wise. The architects. They were not gods, but they were close. They had existed before the stars were born. They had watched the universe grow and change and evolve. They had seeded life on 1,000 worlds and then stepped back to watch it bloom. But they had also seen the darkness that would come. They had seen the machine minds that would rise up and try to destroy organic life. They had seen the collective before it existed, and they had prepared for it. Images flooded into Samantha's mind. She saw the architects traveling across the galaxy, planting the seeds of life. She saw them choosing certain bloodlines on certain worlds, bloodlines that carried special gifts. She saw them building the structure on Earth's moon, waiting for the day when two of those bloodlines would finally meet. She saw herself and Calvera, seen from across 50,000 years. Two flames that would one day join together and become something greater. And she understood. The structure was not a museum. It was not a message. It was a weapon. Samantha opened eyes that now blazed with golden light. Beside her, Calvera's silver eyes had become twin stars. They were still themselves, but they were also something more. They were connected to the power that the architects had left behind. "I understand now," Samantha said. Her voice echoed in the chamber, deeper and stronger than before. They knew this would happen. They knew the collective would return. They built this weapon to stop it. "But it requires both of us," Calvera said. Her voice was different too, musical and powerful. "Neither bloodline alone can use it. We have to work together. Human and Valorian. That is why they connected us, and let us use it." They reached out with their minds. It was not difficult. The power was there, waiting for them, eager to be used. They touched it, and they felt it respond. Far above them, in the cold darkness of space, something changed. The structure beneath the moon came fully alive for the first time in 50,000 years. Energy gathered in its heart, building and building until it could not be contained. And then it released. A pulse of invisible power swept outward from the moon. It moved at the speed of light, faster than any ship could travel. It passed through the human fleet without touching them. It passed through Earth without disturbing a single blade of grass. But when it reached the collective, the effect was immediate. The 47 enemy ships stopped moving. Their engines shut down. Their weapons went silent. Their dark hulls drifted in the emptiness of space, dead and cold. The pulse had not destroyed them. It had done something more precise. It had reached into their cores and erased their programming. It had wiped their minds clean, leaving nothing but empty metal shells. The collective was gone. Not damaged. Not delayed. Gone. On Earth, in the command center of the island facility, General Hayes stared at his screens in disbelief. The enemy ships were no longer showing any life signs. They were not moving, not shooting, not doing anything. What happened? Chancellor Cole demanded. What did they do? I do not know, General Hayes said slowly. But the threat is over. They stopped. They just stopped. Cheers erupted throughout the facility. Scientists hugged each other. Soldiers cried with relief. 8 billion people had been saved from certain death. And on the moon, deep beneath the surface, Samantha and Calvera let go of the crystal pedestal and fell to their knees. The power was fading now. They were still changed, still more than they had been before, but the overwhelming connection to the architects was growing quiet. It had served its purpose. It was going back to sleep. We did it, Samantha breathed. We actually did it, yes. Calvera's voice was tired, but happy. We did. They helped each other stand. They walked slowly out of the chamber, back through the tunnel, back to their shuttle. Neither of them spoke much. There would be time for talking later. For now, they were just grateful to be alive. When they returned to Earth, they were greeted as heroes. The story of what they had done spread across the planet and beyond. Two princesses from different worlds had saved all of humanity from destruction. It was the kind of story that would be told for generations. But for Samantha and Calvera, the victory was just the beginning. 3 months later, they stood together on the observation deck of the Eternal Dawn. The ship was still orbiting Earth. Calvera had decided to stay, at least for a while. There was too much work to do. The Valorian Council has agreed to open formal relations with Earth, Calvera said. It took some convincing. Many of them still see humans as primitive. But what happened here changed their minds. You proved that humans are worth knowing. We proved it together, Samantha said. I could not have done it without you, nor I without you. That was the whole point, was it not? The architects wanted us to work together. They wanted us to see that we are stronger together than apart. Samantha nodded slowly. She looked out the window at Earth, blue and beautiful in the darkness. Her home, her world. But it felt different now. It felt like just one small part of a much larger universe. What do we do now? She asked. Now we build something new. Calvera turned to face her. The architects connected our bloodlines for a reason. They wanted us to bring our peoples together. Not just for this crisis, but for the future. There will be other threats, other challenges. We need to be ready for them. An alliance. More than an alliance. A partnership. A union, Calvera smiled. Your people are young and passionate and full of energy. My people are old and wise and set in our ways. Together, we can be something greater than either of us alone. Samantha thought about everything that had happened. The arrival of the Valorian ship. The discovery of their shared blood. The terror of the collective attack. The power they had touched in that ancient chamber that it all led to this moment. Two princesses, once strangers, now sisters in every way that mattered. It cannot be coincidence, Samantha said, echoing the words that Calvera had spoken at their first meeting. No, Calvera agreed. It cannot. And perhaps that is the point. Perhaps some things are meant to be. Perhaps we were always supposed to find each other. Samantha smiled and took Calvera's hand. The alien skin was cool and smooth, but it felt like family. It felt like home. Then let us get to work, she said. We have a galaxy to change. Together, they watched the stars turn slowly above them. Behind them was a past of mystery and danger. Before them was a future of hope and possibility. And between them was a bond that would never break. Two princesses from different worlds. Two bloodlines connected across light years. Two hearts that beat as one. This was not coincidence. This was destiny. And they would face it together. Forever.